So the first thing we're asked to do in this problem is to take the traditional income statement prepared according to GAAP and transfer that into a cost volume profit related income statement. So I've pulled certain pieces of the problem and kind of rearranged them on the screen for us here. We've got that traditional income statement, we've got our variable cost per unit, and then also this is going to be important here in how many smartphones we sold to achieve this level of profit. So the revenue is very simple, right? We're just going to take the same 1,500,000. That doesn't change regardless of which way you portray the income statement. But my variable costs, this is going to vary significantly from the traditional income statement because variable costs can be cost of goods sold items, but they could also be selling and administrative costs. So I'm simply going to take the 30,000 units that we produced or sold and multiply that by what they tell me is the variable cost per unit, the $30. And that tells me my variable costs are 900,000. And remember the definition of contribution margin is the difference between those two. So that tells me up through, let me just format this real quick, up through contribution margin. Now they also ask us to give it on a percentage and a per unit basis. Looks like I cut off part of that requirement here. So we're going to list those as a percentage of the revenue. So the revenue as a percentage of itself is 100%. The variable cost as a percentage of the revenue is 60%. That tells me my contribution margin is 40%. They also want us to express this in a per unit basis, so I'll list that next. So I know I sold $1,500,000 and I sold 30,000 of those, so I divide that by the 30,000. That gives me the revenue per part, $50. My variable costs per part were simply the $30 given down here, and that means my contribution per part is $20. Now to get my fixed costs, I'm going to make this very simple. We know our total costs in the traditional income statement are the 1 million plus the 400,000, so 1.4 million, and we've already accounted for 900,000 up here. So the difference between the 1.4 million and the 900,000 is 500 grand. That has to be my fixed cost. And that means my operating income, or in this case they tell us net income, they forgot taxes here, is the difference between the two, which is $100,000. And what you'll see is that $100,000 matches this $100,000, which tells us we've accounted for all of our costs. So I would accept and consider this right up here the correct answer.